Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. First off, I want to say thank you to everybody who has already subscribed to my channel. I appreciate every single one of you. For today's video, I'm going to be doing my May wrap up. Let's just jump right in because I feel like I have quite a bit of books to talk about. I read, I believe, 28 books this month. The only reason why it's so many is because I read so many novellas, which I kind of want to start off with, because with novellas, I like to read them in between bigger emotional books because they get me out of that like mini reading slump. So let's just jump right in. Starting off, if I look down, it's because I'm looking at my iPad because the books that I read are on my iPad, but I'm just gonna put it right in front of me because it's probably easier that way. First novella that I read was Bulky by Jessa, Kane, and the reason why I read this was because I need to do my research or like plan my wrap-ups a little bit better, but this is my first one that I'm filming, so it might be all over the place. I promise it will get better. But there's a booktuber that I watch and she really loved it. So I picked it up and wanted to read it as well. Let me look up who it is because I want to make sure. It was Naima's Reads. I really hope I'm saying that right, but she read it and she had loved it. With all of Jessa Kane's books, novellas, I always give them 2 stars because they're like 50-50. They're good, but they're so bad, but they're so good that you can't help but read them, if that makes sense. But they're so bad. Not all of them are so bad, but most of them are. So usually I just rate it a 2. Yeah, so I read that. I gave it 2 stars. And then next novella that I read was The Dragon's Bride by Katee Robert. That one I gave 3 stars. Pretty average for me. I did like it. It is a monster romance. Yeah, I really did like it and I enjoyed my read of it. Read it if you haven't, and if you're into monster romances, check trigger warnings. Make sure you check trigger warnings with every book that you read if you have triggers. I don't think I have triggers. I might have some, but I haven't come across any that trigger me. So, and these are all 18 plus too. So, yeah, I really liked it. I absolutely love the cover of this novella, but I kind of refuse to buy novellas because they're like super small, thin books, and I don't know, I just don't see the point in buying them. If I do buy them, I'll buy them for my Kindle. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I really did like it and I love the cover, and it was just a book that I picked up in between other books. Next novella that I read was Iron Giant by CASSIE. I actually really did like this one. This one was 3 stars. It's about the heroine. She like picks blackberries, and then it's this big hero, Iron Giant, and he is like a blacksmith, and it's just their little romance, and it's so good. It is cute and spicy, and I loved it. I gave it 3 stars. Next one, I also did CASSIE. 3 stars is Ocean Jewel. I really did like this one. This one was like brother's best friend, and I don't remember any of these people's names. But yeah, they go on this boat because her brother is a producer, and they go on this boat to film, and brother's best friend goes on as well, and it's just their really steamy romance and then how they fall in love and whatever. 3 stars. I really like that one too. I like CASSIE more than I like Jessa Kane. Next one that I read was My Dirty Dupe by JOANNA SHUPE. I really did like this one. I gave it 3 stars. This one is father's best friend. The hero is widow. He has a kid, I think, but he doesn't appear in the actual story, and the heroine has just been pining over him for the longest of times, and this is their little cute smutty love story. It's super hot, and it was historical as well, which is the first historical novella that I've ever read, and it was really good. And the dirty talk is A1, not like the sauce. Why am I like this? Then let me see how long this one is. Then I read His Beauty by Jack Harbin. This is like 208 pages. I still count it as a novella. I was gonna say like novellas for me are basically like 200 pages and under, but this is just 208, so I consider it a novella. This is one that I actually bought as an ebook because I don't really love the cover, but I really wanted to read it. I know Bree from In Love and Words, she really liked this one. She likes a lot of Jack Harbin's work. This isn't my first Jack Harbin, but I really wanted to read this one. This one's a monster romance where the beast actually stays beast, and I really liked it. I think it was a little over the top. The heroine was a badass. She didn't take no shit from Beast. Beast was a beast with anger issues and trauma, and he was just really lonely, and it's their love story and how they fall in love. There was a situation going on with the hero that I thought was funny with the, you know, downstairs area. It like, I don't know if I should say it because I don't know if it's a spoiler or if y'all would care. I guess I'll just keep it to myself, and if you have read this, you can comment below what you think I'm talking about. It's funny. Okay, and then the next couple of novellas that I read were by Cassie Mint. I read the Big Boy series that she has. There's 8 books, and I thought I read them all, but I guess not. Oh my god, I didn't read them all. There was 2 that I didn't read. I thought I finished the series. Anyways, I literally binged Cassie Mint for a bit there. I read Big Boss, Big Biker, Big Boxer, Big Bet, Big Brother, and Big Baker. I gave them all 3 stars. Super cute, fluffy, smutty novellas. They're all really short, so you can really just dive in there. They're really good. I think you should read them, especially if you're looking for some novellas. So then I read Tangled Wires by Lillian Lark. This one was also highly recommended by Bree from In Love and Words, and I actually bought this one for my Kindle. This one I really liked. I gave it 3 stars, I believe, but it's more of like a 3.5. I think I found the concept really cool. It's about an AI falling in love with the heroine and vice versa. Trigger warnings for this one with suicide talk. Yeah, basically. It's a heavy book, but the hero is an AI, and the only person that knows is the heroine, and it's their love story. This was beautiful. It was like tragically beautiful. It was so good. I should have given it 4 stars. I really liked it. It was kind of heavy in some parts, but it was also kind of interesting to see in the mind of an AI, and like the way that Lillian Lark brought all those like AI characteristics and like the technology of it into the book made it seem not so far-fetched. Like maybe like 20-40 years from now we could have all of this shit. Who knows? I don't fucking know. But this one was really good. I really liked it. I wish it was spicier, but it is a novella, and it wasn't insta love, and it was so good. It was so good. And who knew that an AI could be so fucking dirty? Like, okay, I see you. And it was like he was made for her. It was so good. Please read this one. I for sure recommend this one. This one's not on KU though. It's $2.99 for your Kindle, and then the paperback is $10.99 if you get it on Amazon. The cover is actually really beautiful. It wasn't a 5-star read for me, but the cover is so beautiful. Next novella that I read was Do Me a Favor by Jessa Kane. This one, I don't even remember anything about it, but I did read it. So I guess that's all I'll say about it. I always give Jessa Kane ones 2 stars, so. Then last novella that I read was Woke Up Wed by Cassie Mint. This is like the first book in one of her like wedding series that she has. This one, it is a boss and personal assistant. They travel to Vegas for a meeting with some clients, and then they wake up married, and then they retrace their steps, and while they're retracing their steps, they like kind of fall in love with each other or realize that they are in love with each other. And it was just a super cute fluffy romance, had some spice in there thrown in, and it was really good. I gave it 3 stars. Now to talk about the big books that I read. The first book that I read in May was Madman. This is the last book in Onley James Necessary Evils series that is currently out. This still has maybe about 2 to 3 books left in the series, but I think the next one after this comes out sometime in August. Ready for that one. This one is about one of the twins, Avi and Felix, and their love story. This is a dark romance. They are just psychopath killers. I don't think they're technically serial killers because they don't kill no idea, but they're fucking psychopaths and they kill bad people. I really loved this one. I gave it 4 stars, and then I felt like I needed to bump up my rating for this book after I seen this art. I will put a picture of it on the screen and tag the artist as well. I saved it on my Instagram because it was just chef's kiss. Like literally, this is what Felix and Avi look like, and this is what I pictured them to look like in my head. I couldn't really ever get the real vision for Felix's fashion, but in that picture, oh my god, so hot. But Avi is a CEO of his own fashion brand, Gemini, and Felix is interning with Avi because Felix wants to have his own fashion brand eventually, or like he's into fashion, he's going to fashion school or was in fashion school, and now he's taking this internship with Avi. And yeah, it was really good. They both have some kinks. Avi is just like, he's a psychopath, so he can't really feel human emotions, but the way that Onley James talks about all of these psychopaths, like the whole series is about the whole group of psychopaths in this study that the father did. And like I said, Onley James does a really good job of showing that the psychopaths love the other person without it actually being, or them saying like, I love you and shit. Anyways, 4 stars. I really liked it. If you haven't read the series, I suggest that you do. They're all romances. Check trigger warnings. These are pretty dark, but I love them. Next book I read in May was actually the only physical book that I read in May. It was Throne of Glass. I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. I love Sarah J. Maas's writing. I have a lot of tabs, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun reading this. It was easy to read, even though it was like 300 and something pages. There is sort of a love triangle that kept me interested, but I know who I would choose, but I still don't know who she's gonna end up with. This is a whole ass series. You guys probably already know what this is about. I don't really know what I should say about it because I've only read this one and a couple of the novellas. So, which reminds me, I need to add those novellas to my Goodreads. Next book that I read was Sweet on the Greek by Talia Hibbert. This was a month of me finishing series that I had already started. This is actually the last book in this Just Him series, I believe. I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked this one. This is a fake dating romance, and the hero's Greek and he speaks Greek. I remember that, and it was hot. And the heroine was damaged because of events that happened in the first book, and it's just really good and spicy, and Talia Hibbert just knows how to do it. She just knows. Next book that I read was The Wild by Jenika Snow. This is also part of a series that I finished. I'm pretty sure there's more books coming out in this series, but this is the last one that is out. And this one I gave 3 stars. This is a werewolf shifter romance, and it's pretty dark. The heroine gets rescued from being experimented on, tortured. It's fated mates. It's spicy. It's really good. Next book that I read was The Beast by Katee Robert. This is a MFM, female male couple. It's Beast, Isabel, and Gation, bruh, I don't know, but you know, those 3 characters, and it's their romance, and it was really good. I gave it 4 stars. I loved Beast and Gation, and the only reason that I didn't give it 5 stars is because Isabel kind of rubbed me the wrong way, kind of sort of at one point. Like, she was really like, I have these 2 men, but it's not enough. And I was just like, Beast is just, and then Gation is just, and then they all 3 get together and it's their love story, and it's part of the Wicked Villain series, so you kind of have to read them. They could be read as standalones, but I feel like you should always read it from the beginning. Next book that I read is a book that I absolutely love. This was Famine by Thalassa. Listen, I had read Pestilence and War a long time ago, so this is why I was trying to finish this series this month. And I remember giving Pestilence 4 stars and 4 stars for War as well. I'm not sure why, but when I read Famine, instant 5 star. Like, this book is just everything. This is the Four Horsemen series by Thalassa, and it is pestilence, war, famine, and death. And famine just hit all the spots. Maybe it was the time that I was reading it, maybe it was the time that I was just super into my fantasy, but damaged hero, damaged heroine, end of the world, apocalypse, just these heroes. It was kind of like this whole like fated mates kind of energy, and it was also kind of like enemies to lovers because she was trying to stop him from ending the world. And the banter back and forth and the way that Thalassa writes her words and her stories are just hit deep. And he's possessive, and he'll hurt everyone but her, and he will kill everyone but her, and he just wants to be loved, and he is so damaged because humans. And I don't know what to tell you. It was 5 stars. Read this series if you haven't already. I kind of want to go back and read Pestilence and War because I just don't understand why I didn't give him 5 stars. But Famine was just 5 stars. It was amazing. I wish that they hadn't done Famine so dirty. Oh, dude. Famine on this book cover is just not it. Like, I literally can't. This man has no eyebrows. He has no eyebrows. Like, why would they do him so dirty like that? Like, bruh, I just don't understand. I would so buy Pestilence paperback. I would so buy War paperback, and I would buy Death paperback. But Famine, like, why did they have to do my boy so dirty? Like, the guy on the cover does not look like anything that I picture Famine to look like. Like, I refuse to picture Famine with no eyebrows. Like, I refuse. I refuse. But the covers are so beautiful, and I wanted them on paperback, but I refuse to buy Famine with no eyebrows. That's it. Like, I just refuse. Anyways, the next book that I read was Dead Man Walking. This was the last book also in the Fallen MC series by Gianna Darling so far. This is the last book out by her. Caution to the Wind was supposed to come out April, and then it was supposed to come out May, and then it still has been postponed because of the whole Gianna Darling's Instagram being hacked and all of that. So I completely understand, but I'm so excited for that one. But anyways, I read Dead Man Walking, and 5 stars immediately. Like, all of the books that I've read by Gianna Darling are 5 stars. Like, I just don't know what to tell you. She is an auto-buy author for me. I love her. Like, she can do no wrong. The smut is A1. The story is so good. Bea and Priest is so good. Oh my god, I love their dynamic. I love the whole danger with the innocence and just the way that Gianna Darling writes. It's so poetic, and it just hits me so deep in my soul. There was a part in it where Bea, like, she has this like fear kink, and she was going out with this other dude, and the minute that she found out that he was doing drugs, she was like instantly turned on by him. That was kind of for me, but like, I also kind of understood it, so that's why I didn't like dock a point. But just Bea and Priest, they just click. And I will never look, what was it? Oh, Peaches. It was Peaches. I will never look at Peaches the same. It was so good. It was so good. Like, it was so good. Like, she can't do no wrong. 5 stars. Dead Man Walking. Amazing. Next book that I read was Death by Thalassa, and that one, 5 stars. This is kind of like a really good month for me. Wow. This one, the last book, I'm so sad that it's the last book in this series, but there's only 4 horsemen, so what can you do? Death is just beautiful, and he has wings, and he's damaged, and he is absolutely amazing and devastating and horrendous and beautiful and so good. Oh my god, read this series. Oh my god, read this series. Like, I don't know how much more I can like stress this, but it is so good. Like, Death made me not be afraid of death, and this is like enemies to lovers, like instant enemies to lovers. The heroine like literally tries to kill the hero multiple times. It is so good. These are slow burn, but they have smut in it, and once the smut is introduced, it's not constant, but it's still in the story. And just the character development and the relationship development, the things that these horsemen will do for their one person, it's like, touch her and I will kill you. It's phenomenal. 5 stars. Next, I finished the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. I read the last book, which was The Goal. I really liked this one, surprise pregnancy, so I'm surprised that I liked it. But I think her name is Sabrina. I honestly couldn't picture, like, I couldn't put the name with the character, as in, like, I knew who Tucker was because he's like part of the hockey group, the main group. It's a hockey college romance. I think that's called new adult. I think that's what people categorize it as. But it's smutty. This one I think is the least smutty of all of the books in the series. But it's surprise pregnancy, like I said, college hockey romance. I knew Tucker, but I didn't know that he was gonna fall in love with Sabrina. And then Sabrina, I couldn't picture her where I knew her from, because I feel like she wasn't introduced. I think she was introduced in Dean's story, which is The Score, but I couldn't remember when I was reading The Goal. So I was like, where did this bitch come from? You know? But I love this bitch, even though she made me want to rip the hairs off of my head. Like, I was so frustrated with her, but I also understood where she was coming from, and I think I see a lot of myself in her, which is why I was so frustrated. But she is studying to become a lawyer. She's super smart. She was working multiple jobs. She hates her home life and she's trying to get out of it, so she's been working and grinding and hustling, which I loved. I always picture like a badass female when I think of lawyers. But anyways, beside the point, she gets with Tucker, and Tucker is just book boyfriend material, like, all the way. He is there for her. He is just a constant in her life, which I feel like is what she desperately needed. But she was so scared that he wasn't gonna be a constant in her life, so there was so much pushback, so much pushing Tucker away, that I got so frustrated. I was like, this man deserves so much better than you, bitch. Like, get it together. John Tucker didn't see anybody except Sabrina. Like, he was Sabrina above all else. Like, he fell in love with her and he was about her from the get-go. Isn't that all what we all women need? Just a constant, rock, hot college hockey guy. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I just love John Tucker. I think he might be my favorite man from the series. He was just so good. It was so good. Anyways, I gave it 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 because I was so frustrated towards most of the story, but I also loved it. And then I finished it off by reading The Legacy. This is basically an extended epilogues / novellas for all of the characters from the Off-Campus series. Can't really talk about it because spoilers. They're just really novellas of each couple. I gave it 3 stars. Read it if you want. You don't really have to read it though if you don't like that kind of stuff. Next book that I read was The Sea Witch by Katie Robert. I was trying to finish the series, which I did finish it. The Sea Witch is a FMF. So there's Ursa, then there's Zuriel, and then there's Alaric. And this is like kind of based off like The Little Mermaid, because Ursa and then Zuriel, I don't know who the fuck she's based off of, but it's loosely based off. It has absolutely nothing, it's nothing like The Little Mermaid, but that's the one that fits the most. And then the Beast fit with like Beauty and the Beast. Anyways, I surprisingly like this one. I wasn't sure about the last couple of books in the series because I knew they were FF romances like in there, but this one, The Sea Witch, I really liked. I loved Ursa, surprisingly. Because she's like the dominant in the relationship. These are kind of like BDSM focused, the series anyways. And I also loved Alaric. I loved how he was the most submissive one and how he kind of took care of both his girls. Anyways, yeah, I loved Ursa and I loved Zuriel, even though she was kind of really naive. And then I loved Alaric, and then this is like 4 spicy. Like, this is spicy. And I mean, all of these are. It's like more spice over plot, but there's still plot, so it keeps you going. I gave it 3 stars. Next book is Queen Takes Rose. This is an FF, and I actually think I like this one better. I think on my wrap up, I put 3 stars, but I think I gave it 4 stars on my Goodreads. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars on my Goodread, but I put 3 stars on my wrap up. Anyways, besides the point, I like this one better than the Sea Witch, which I'm surprised about because there's an actual male in the Sea Witch, but this is an FF romance for Queen Takes Rose by Katee Robert. This one was really good. I feel like it just hit because Malone is just a badass woman and she's like an Amazon and she like can fight, and there's like these not battle scenes, but they're like practice combat like on the mat or whatever. And I loved Aurora because she's in all of the other books and she was just waiting for her own love story, and she's also a badass. And trigger warnings for death of a family member, so damaged heroine, but they come into this contract and they are just hot for each other. They are like, the chemistry is insane. Anyway, some of the things that I loved about it were the combat, where they practice combat, the way that Malone takes care of Aurora, and how it was supposed to be only an arrangement, but they fall in love with each other, and it's so cute. And I love Aurora, and I love how everybody loves Aurora. Like, she's just a likable person, and I think that Malone is perfect for Aurora, and I really liked it. Anyways, I give it 4 stars. Last one that I'm going to talk about is Wicked Villain shorts. These are little novellas slash short stories that Katee Robert has released about the Wicked Villain's characters. So it's like an extended epilogue for all of the characters. She has released some of these on her Patreon because it tells you when you're reading the short story where it's from. So it's just like novellas about the characters, and I read it. I gave it 3 stars. Extended epilogue is kind of like the legacy, but just for the Wicked Villains characters, and I gave it 3 stars. I really enjoyed it. I always love seeing my couples happy, so I will read them if I like the couples. So yeah, and that was the last book that I read in the month of May. I feel like I have been talking forever. If you guys made it to the end of this video, put a blue heart down below in the comment section, because I believe that Death is my favorite book of this month. It was kind of a hard choice between Famine, Death, and Dead Man Walking, but Death just hit all the right spots in May. So put blue hearts down below if you made it to the end of the video. Let me know what your favorite book in May was as well, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.